Hello, hello. My name is Abby Levine, and I am a divine money manifesting coach. So, I'm not a business coach. I don't teach people systems. I don't teach people how to build a business. I don't do any of that stuff. I actually teach socially minded, spiritually aware individuals how to get into an alignment with an extreme wealth vibration. Okay, so I talk a lot about money and vibration and energy and things like that, but everything that I teach is based in science. It's really practical. Because I'm super down to earth, and I believe making things achievable is one of the most important things to actually being able to see my students have success. Last year, 2019, I created a program called Millionaire Mindset Mastery. And most of my clients came to my program making less than $5,000 a month. And by the end of 2019, they had cleared well over, I lost count, well over $135 million. What? It was totally crazy. And now the reason I call it divine money manifesting is because I actually am an angel communicator. Everything that I teach, I've been given to by my angel team. If you want to know who my angels are, you can definitely PM me. But I'm not talking about like some made up entity. I'm not talking about like spirits. I'm talking about the archangels, literally from the Bible, because the angels are the guardians of the planet. They're the guardians of Earth. So everybody has an angel team, by the way. I can communicate with other people's angel teams and pass along messages, but I don't like, that's not what I do. I teach people how to make money. Now, the reason that I teach people how to make money is because when we want to do really big things, when we want to make a really huge impact on the planet, we need money to do it, right? We can't build orphanages from chump change. We can't cure homelessness with pocket change, right? Begging for scraps in the streets. No, we need millions of dollars, sometimes even billions of dollars to heal the foster care system, to make sure that no child is homeless, right? So the thing is, though, the people who came here to do good, most of you are still sitting in your vow of poverty, that living a life of service has to be done being broke. Nothing could be further from the truth. We were not born to be broke. We were born to be wealthy. But the thing is that when we serve from a place of overflow, when we serve because we have such an abundance, we're so lit up, our energy and our service is that much more juicy and that much more meaty and that much more positively infused with healing energy, right? So this whole thing where money is evil or the love of money is the root of all evil, things like that, all of that has skewed our perception and our relationship with money. And by the way, most of those limiting beliefs that have been perpetuated by society are based on a few people's behavior who just happen to be greedy. The thing about money is it's not essentially good or bad. Money is neutral. But what it does is it magnifies the already existing personality traits and characteristics of the person who has it in their hands. So you, who are a really wonderful, kind, compassionate, service-oriented person, would change the world for the better with millions of dollars, right? And someone who is not so much kind and compassionate, sure, doesn't care about making the world a better place and is going to go buy 7 yachts and live off the coast of Fiji or whatever. And there's no judgment around that. It's just that this negative attitude that we have towards money is so outdated. It's so old. It's old paradigm. The new paradigm is coming in, and the new paradigm speaks of wealth and abundance and feeling lit up and feeling happy and content and having all your money. And the thing is if you're worrying about how you're going to pay your bills, you're not focusing on what you came to this planet to do. You're just not. Like, you don't have the capacity to, right? Because you're consumed with worrying about how you're going to pay your bills. You don't have any extra energy to worry about how you're going to build that orphanage, to worry about how you're going to raise money to build wells in Africa, or whatever it is that your heart is calling you for. So it's essential. I was charged with this very important mission of putting massive wealth in the hands of the people who are going to do life-changing things with it. And I accept my role with absolute honor. A little bit about me. I came from a really, really challenging childhood. I experienced all the kinds of abuse you can experience. So I get it. If you've lived through abuse, I get it. I've seen it, I've witnessed it, it's happened to me. I spent 6 years in foster care. I've been homeless 4 times as a single mom. That the 4th time is actually when my journey began for healing. I was 29 years old. And I get it. We have a lot of trauma. And this trauma creates all of these limiting ideas about ourselves. Okay, because the fact of the matter is that abundance is infinite. All this talk about there being limited supplies of money, or if someone has $7 billion, that means that I don't have $7 billion because that person over there has pots of my billions. No, that's nonsense. That's a bunch of BS. And the reason that that was circulated was actually a power grab. It was a control move. It's to keep you feeling helpless and hopeless so you don't actually step up and do something about it. I am here to go, yoo-hoo, time to do something about it. So the only thing that's stopping wealth, abundance, from pouring millions of dollars into your bank account every single day is you. You're not doing it on purpose, obviously. You're not like, I think I would not like to get $1 million today, so no thank you, universe, I'm good. Like, obviously you're not doing that, right? Otherwise you would have it already. But your unconscious mind has a set of beliefs that have limited you, and one of them is that that's not possible. Because if you believed it was possible, it would already be happening. One of my darling followers asked me, well, I don't think I have any limiting beliefs. How do I know? And I'm like, are you living the life of your absolute dreams? And she's like, no. I'm like, yes, then you have some. Because when all of your limiting beliefs are cleared and you're in alignment, you're living your most contented, blissed out life. That's how you know. Until you get there, you have work to do. And that's okay. That's why we came here, right? We came to this planet to grow. That's what we're here for. So the thing about these beliefs is that they feel so real that our brain has accepted them as absolute fact. That's a problem. When our brain accepts something as a fact, it makes sure that everything in our environment matches up with that limiting belief. Why? Because your brain has one job, and that is to keep everything the same. Its only job is to make sure that nothing in your life ever changes. It's a concept called homeostasis, and they talk about it on a cellular level in biology, right? Everything has this beautiful fine balance in our bodies, but homeostasis extends to our brain and our thinking and how our thoughts travel through our actual physical brain, right? So our brain has one job, and that's to keep everything the same. And right now, your brain believes there's never enough money. Well, crap. Because guess what? That's what it's going to manifest in your life. So even if there is enough money, what's going to happen? You're going to money leak like crazy. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, now that I have this tons of money, I need all of these different things. And there's very logical justifications for all of the different things that you need. And boom, the money has disappeared. And all of a sudden, you don't know how you're going to pay your rent. And you're like, gee, just a few days ago, I had all of these thousands of dollars. Where the heck did they go? Right? That's because it's your brain's job to make sure that nothing ever changes. And when nothing ever changes, that means that you're never supposed to have enough money. You're not supposed to feel like there's enough money, right? Because that would be totally different. That would be something new. Your brain doesn't feel comfortable with that. Okay. Also, not only that, but your brain seeks out evidence to support this limiting belief in order to make sure that nothing changes, in order to make sure it's doing its job. And it does its job fabulously. So you'll be very happy to know that your brain is not broken. There's nothing wrong with you at all. There's just a couple of programs that are working against what it is that you're trying to create in your life. And good news is that you don't have to live with those programs. You can actually clear them out. That's part of what I do. That's why I'm here today. Okay, cool. The reason that these beliefs are limiting, so how do you know if a belief that you have is limiting? If it puts any kind of boundary on your growth or expansion, it is a limiting belief. Sometimes it's stated in the negative and then it's easy to spot. There's not enough time, there's not enough money. Who am I? Not important. I'm too broken. Da 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 da. Right? Sometimes it can be stated in the negative, in the positive. That's when it's really very tricky to spot because it feels like a positive belief, but it still limits your growth and expansion. And so it's essentially a limiting belief in disguise. Sneaky little duck. Goodness gracious me. There's a story I wanted to just, if you haven't heard the story, it's such a great story, or if you have, I'll remind you. The 5-minute mile barrier could not be broken. There was the fastest man in the world, and he ran a mile in like 5 minutes and 4 seconds or something like that. And it was well known, again, limiting belief, it was well known that that was the fastest man in the world. Nobody could break that number. And so what happened? 60 years went by. People got close. They got to 5 minutes and 5 seconds, 5 minutes and 7 seconds, but nobody could actually beat his time for 60 freaking years. Then one day, 60 years later, some guy who's from some tiny little tribe in Africa, Ethiopia, I believe it was. Ethiopians are so fast. Anyway, that's a different thing. Because he didn't have books about how the 5-minute mile couldn't be broken. He didn't have reinforcements. Nobody told him what the fastest any one person could run a mile was. So what did he do? He smashed through it. He beat it by something like 13 seconds, which doesn't sound like much, but the 5-minute mile went 60 years without being broken. And here he comes along. He doesn't know it's supposed to not be broken. So he breaks it. Guess what happened the following year? Hundreds, I think it was something nuts, like 600 people broke the 5-minute mile. What the actual heck? But because of this limiting belief that had been perpetuated by society for 60 years, nobody thought they can do it. They relegated themselves to not being able to do it. One guy comes along, he does it, everybody else is like, oh, I guess it is possible. I'm going to go do it too. So that is an example of how a limiting belief works and how it can literally be supported by society, with global society, for years or decades or even centuries before one person comes along and is like, tink, smashes through the thin layer of that boundary, of that limiting belief, and everybody's like, oh, wow, takes their shades off. The world is brighter. More things are possible, right? It's so cool. That's one of the reasons why I love to share my story of being a single mom, having built a multi-6-figure business and having had clients who made over $135 million, is because the perpetuated stereotype for moms in general is that you probably shouldn't be able to do that, and the single mom shouldn't be able to get that much success. Like, what the heck? Do you know who you are? What are you doing? You're breaking the thing, you're breaking the pattern. So hereby give you all the good juju, all the permission that you need. You can go out and be your best self. Now we're going to start today. I'm going to do a little process with you, because before we can actually believe that there is enough money, we have to start healing and repairing the relationship that we have with money. And we have to kind of get your brain to believe and just kind of start to tap into the idea that abundance is infinite. So if you're driving, you can pause right here, finish this later. I don't want you to do this process if you're on the move, because that could be dangerous for you. If you're at home, perfect. Just sit somewhere comfy. Maybe lean your head back. Maybe put your feet up if you want to. We're going to close our eyes during this process, and you're just going to follow along with me. Okay? I'm going to close my eyes, because what I find is, because we have mirror neurons in our brain, if you see me with your eyes closed, you'll feel more comfortable closing your own eyes. I'm going to ask you retroactively for permission to tap into your energy system. In case there's anything I need to know about what's going on with you. The first thing I want you to do is I just kind of want you to imagine settling into stillness. Now this looks different for different people. Some people love the water. I love the stillness underwater. So if that's what you like, imagine just sinking below the water. If you're scared of drowning or something like that, please don't do this. But if you love being underwater, just imagine yourself sinking into the stillness of underwater. If you don't care for that, then picture yourself perhaps in a cave, in a very safe cave. Nothing is lurking in the shadows. This is your own cave. There's no noise or interference from the outside world. Perhaps you like being outside. And if that's you, imagine yourself high up in the mountains in a very peaceful cabin. Only sounds are the sounds of the animals. Safe ones that aren't going to hurt you while you have your eyes closed. I'm going to count you from 5 down to 0. And on each count, you'll find yourself getting more and more still. Now, if you have thoughts moving around your brain, instead of trying to shove them out or push them down, just acknowledge them. Don't get caught up in them, but if someone wants to remind you, like, hey, remember to get this thing at the grocery store, to say thank you, let it roll off to the side. And just keep doing that. Anytime a thought pops into your mind, just thank it for bringing that thing to your attention, let it roll off to the side, and keep bringing your attention back to the sound of my voice. So you're going to find yourself getting more and more still with each count. As I count you from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And I want you to imagine yourself somewhere very safe and comfortable for you. It could be a beautiful place in nature, or maybe it's not, maybe it's inside somewhere. Just kind of notice what you can see, what you can feel. And then when you're ready, invite an image, color, an emotion, or a shape into the space with you. that represents money. Notice how it shows up. If you were to describe it to someone, notice some of the details that you would share. And I want you to notice how you feel when this image shows up. Now, if you're having a hard time visualizing, let's imagine that you're just in a space. You can feel it, maybe you can hear it, but you don't have to see anything for this to be effective. So once money comes into the space, you know how everything has its own energy signature. Notice how it feels. Notice how you feel knowing that money is in the space with you. And because this is your imagination and anything is possible in your imagination, I want you to imagine that this image had a life of its own. Imagine that this was money as a being, as a conscious being that you can communicate with. And so just open up the communication, tell money how you feel being with it. And notice how it responds. Notice what the energy of money is like. Imagine that you could walk along while you talk things over together. Ask money what it wants. What is most important to it? Just imagine that money could respond to you. And how does it feel to know that? And if you don't get an answer from money, just imagine what money would say. Now tell money what you want from it. Tell money what's important to you. Notice how it responds. And then imagine that you could actually switch places with money. So you become the money image, it becomes you, you'll always trade back again. And as you become money, notice what it's like first to be money. How does it feel? And if you look out of the eyes of money into the world, notice what that's like. Now, as money, look over at yourself and notice what that feels like. What would you like to say to yourself as money? Now switch back to yourself again. As you observe money or notice the energy of money, or the shape or the color or the feeling, what's different about money? What's different about yourself? Is there anything else that money would like to say to you? Is there anything that you would like to say to it? Let's ask money to be in a partnership. Find out from money what it needs from you in order to want to be with you all the time. Most of the time, all money wants is just for you to say yes and receive it. Tell money what you need from it and find out if that's something it's willing to do. And imagine your energy and money energy coming together in a beautiful, receptive, welcoming, abundant fusion. It could be a hug. It could just be money moves into you and just merges with you. And as you create this beautiful fusion, I want you to look around you in your mind and notice how infinite abundance actually is. There's no start, there's no stop. It moves in and around, and all through, constantly. And someone picking off the abundance tree doesn't diminish abundance at all. And notice how many beautiful trees of abundance there are all around, and people are saying, yes, thank you, I would love some of that. Just picking fruit like from a public tree. And now imagine just going to your own tree and just taking some of that abundance. And you might feel like taking all of the apples, and do it if it's apples, or taking all of the fruit, holding it in your sweater in a basket, or getting a backpack, or just taking everything and saying, yes, thanks, 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 and feeling a little bit desperate to take all of the abundance. But notice, as soon as you take something off, more appears. The tree is never empty. There is always more. You're not diminishing it by having some for yourself. And very soon there begins to be an understanding that abundance is indeed infinite, and no matter how much you could take for yourself, there will always be more. And let that idea, no matter how much you take for yourself, there will always be more. Let that idea, that thought, find a place somewhere in your heart or soul, or somewhere in your body or energy system, that you can just remind yourself when you start to feel fear, start to feel that not enoughness, that anxiety about running out. Just reminding yourself that there's always more. There's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. No matter how much you take for yourself, there will always be more. Sealing that deep into your mind, locking it into place. Thanking abundance for being here for you. Maybe even apologizing it for being so rude to it, not wanting to receive it, shoving it out the door as soon as it comes, or not even letting it in the door in the first place. Making a commitment to receive better, more openly, to let it come in. And allowing your unconscious and conscious mind to work in unison to attract all the resources and people that you need into your life so that you can manifest this tons of abundance. in your own world, reinforcing all at 0. 1 is a nice deep cleansing breath in and release. 2 is coming back to the body, back to the room. 3 is a wonderful sense of well-being. 4, an even more alert number. And 5 is eyes open, wide awake and alert. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake and alert. Welcome back. So if you have any thoughts or anything, make sure to jot them down. Any reminders that you want to set on your phone about the infinite nature of abundance, definitely do it. I would love to invite you to a free challenge that I have, which is clearing the top, the 13 main limiting beliefs that block us from getting to $20,000 to $50,000 a month. I have a free challenge called the 12 Days of Breakthroughs because I liked the name, the 12 Days of Breakthroughs, and it felt like the 12 Days of Christmas. And then I thought of a 13th one, so that's just a bonus. I believe the link will be in and around, but if not, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me, Abby Levine, Abilevine on Facebook. You can find my free group where I have tons and tons of free content. I'm always teaching free classes, lots of tips. There's tons of stuff in there. It's called Divine Money Manifesting. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and connect. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you blossom and really stepping into your power and showing up exactly the way that you were meant to, with beautiful, beautiful, beautiful abundance. Thank you so much for giving me your time, energy, and attention today. The disconnect from your energy field. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day.